Hi, everyone. It's really good to have you here today. And I'm excited to introduce to you today Brad Johnson. And he is a trainer for Rife Technologies. And I really wanted to have this interview because, as you know, I'm into kind of quantum healing and how we can all empower ourselves and take our health into our own hands. And I've been quite fascinated with this technology for a while. And so I thought it would be helpful to all of you to bring someone into a conversation who could actually tell you much more about this technology. And one of the most important things I think about the Rife machine technologies is it's actually affordable for the likes of you and me and the average Joe blogs. And it really is an extraordinary technology that can help with a lot of diseases that obviously conventional medicine tells us are impossible to cure. So, Brad, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for coming and talking to us today. It's very nice to have you here.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
So perhaps you could start by explaining to the audience what is Rife technology and how it all came about.
Sure. So rifing technology is basically just an overbroad term for the ability of taking and using frequency resonance to resonate the low vibrational threats inside of our body to a point where they can break down and leave without harming the healthy cells.
So it's frequency technology that's kind of
you're using specific resonant frequencies to match and identify the specific issues that are causing resonance inside the body, and you're using those frequencies to then break those down and then process them out through your detox mechanisms to remove them from your life.
Okay, and I've been sent a Rife machine to have a look at and a play with, and I've been using it, and it's kind of amazing, isn't it? Because it's got the most enormous database of every disease and pathogen known to man. And then it's also got a database which is kind of rooted. You've got some sort of spiritual aspects and psychological aspects to this database as well, haven't you? So it's not just physical issues that can be helped, but it's things like addiction or depression or anxiety, or even like the energies of the spine. You've got something called Song of the Spine in there. There's some amazing stuff. So can you sort of explain about
And just like you're kind of telling everyone, is right now there's currently over 50,000 plus different frequency options. And so when you're trying to address specific issues that each one of us suffer from on a daily basis, they're normally going to break down into one of two types of what we call modality approaches, right? So we're either going to be targeting and killing these types of things to break them down and remove them, or we're boosting and repairing up our body's natural immune system to repair these things. These are going to be healing modalities. These are going to be more along those lines of like what you're talking about, emotional balancing and things that don't really have a pathogenic base to them, things like depression or anxiety. These we want a delicate, gentle type of delivery to help resolve in the body.
Okay, and also I've been why don't you explain have you got a box that you can show people how big this thing is?
Yeah, I do.
I've got the spooky2, so the little one that's yeah, there we go. So basically, I've been sent this little box.
These are the kits.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Everything that you need comes inside the kit. The generator, all of the accessories, which are just the different means for how you get those frequencies into your body from that free database that we talked about, are all conveniently stored here in this case.
Yeah, and so the amazing thing about this is that you can send the frequencies through touch, can't you, through pads? And then you've also got a remote setting, which is essentially scalar wave technology again, isn't it?
Correct. Scalar waving technology is the ability to put your DNA sample into one of their remotes where you don't have to be physically connected to it, but you can still pick and choose programming out of that software to run against that DNA. And using the dynamics of quantum entanglement, now those frequencies, when they hit your DNA, will hit you, regardless of how far away you are from the device.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. So what I've been doing is I've been using this box and experimenting on my family. And so we take like a fingernail and we put it in the machine, and then we choose the program and the frequencies that we want to beam at them. And the first one I did was the one that you recommend, which is the 11-day detox.
Yep.
And it was really amazing because I really noticed that I was detoxing, and it's got heavy metal detoxes and pathogen and bacterial detox, got kind of all these amazing detoxes. And the other thing is you can put like loads of people's fingernails in the machine at the same time, can't you? We were doing the whole family simultaneously.
Yeah, and that's like the whole benefit of like running that terrain protocol is it's going to move through these different parts or the terrain of your body as it's targeting and breaking down the toxins and parasites, getting your body prepped for as we progress on to doing and experimenting other things on that, again, healing or killing modality approach.
Yeah, okay. And so can you just explain? So we've got the remote setting, and then you've got the pads.
Yes.
Which are like they're like those little square sticky pads that you stick to people if they want to do it in person.
They look just like this. They're only about 2 inches or so. And
Yeah.
like I said, they look just like this. So they're nothing too big or too,
Yeah.
but all we do is we attach these little TENS pads to the body. And then that is the basic means of bringing those frequencies now into the body versus where we were talking about bringing them in with quantum and remote earlier. Now, if we attach these to our generator itself, we can just connect these directly to our body. And now we're bringing those frequencies in with absorption.
Yeah, okay. And I had a question for you. Do you think using the TENS pads, and you've also got handles that you can hold, haven't you? You've got metal handles that you can hold.
TENS cylinders and TENS pads, both again contact methods of delivery, but way more amplified than what you're going to be used to or feeling on the remote level with quantum.
Oh, okay. So you think it's stronger if you're actually in contact?
No, it is. It's not a thinking, but I'm confident it is. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
10 to 15 times stronger.
And also, just for the audience to know, I mean, generally with the remote, it seems to take about 3 weeks. Is that correct? Running a
That
program
depends
to kind
on
of
your
kill a
programming.
pathogen. Sorry?
It depends on the programming you're going after. Like, for example, killing modality programs, you can break stuff down within a couple of hours in the body. You can start feeling the die off and the effects of that process. So, targeted and killing modalities can be felt almost, again, I have certain clients when I start them on remote that they call me right away and say, "Hey, I felt you turn that on."
And then, so that's to break down pathogens. And then, so is it about 3 weeks to put in new frequencies that are kind of
Like, yeah, new 2 to 3 weeks are kind of like your healing modality approaches. Like these are where you're not really going to cause that faster pathogenic breakdown in the body. So you go through this process of boosting up the body's immune system and stimulating you naturally. That's a slower, easier, gentle process, but it is going to take some time.
yeah? Well, I don't think 3 weeks is that long, actually, all things considered.
Well, and again, like I said, that's always going to vary depending upon the severity of what you're going after and the condition of how long you've had it. So, for example, somebody who's suffering from depression for 2 or 3 weeks, no big deal. You can knock this out real quick. Whereas if you've been suffering from depression for 20 years, it's not going to go away overnight.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so the other thing that I think is really fascinating about this machine, and I've only just coming to get to grips with it now, is the biofeedback modality.
Yep.
So do you want to, because what that does is it allows the machine will run a test on your body and tell and notice what frequencies are stressing out your body, so what pathogens are there, and so it will create a specific program just for you. So if you've got an illness, or you're just feeling not very well and you don't know what it is, or you're run down, or you've got chronic fatigue or something, it will find out what it is for you, won't it, essentially?
Well, even again, let's be cautious because this is not a diagnostic tool. It's not going to be something that you hook up to your body and it's going to tell you, oh, this is what that is.
Yeah.
That's not this. This is a means of saying, okay, well, I want to create a customized program of myself. So I would hook these TENS pads up to my body and I would run and create a program and save that into the database as my biofeedback scan. So the purpose and method of how you incorporate those biofeedback scans is once you have them saved as programs into the database, let's assume just like what you're talking about, you come down with a cold or something like that. You can use the database programming to go in and say, hey, target a programming for cold for me. But in case it's anything else, incorporate in these biofeedback scans to make sure I'm hitting everything.
Yeah, so it's not diagnosing, but it's diagnosing the frequency that stresses you out rather than
Let's
the
assume that
disease.
you had no doctor appointments or no, lab work or anything like that, and you just bought this system and you didn't know where to begin. You would run a biofeedback scan and start running those results.
Yeah, okay. So so you run the bio, because I've only just started looking at it. So I've got my biofeedback results. So I've got the 10 top frequencies that are essentially stressing me out. And
Correct.
it's amazing, this machine, because it's got like a finger pulse or an ear pulse thing that checks your heart rate when
Yeah,
it's
while that scan is being
yeah,
conducted,
well, the
it's monitoring
scan's
your heart
going.
rate.
Yeah, so when you've got a frequency that stresses you out, obviously your heart rate increases and it makes a note. So I've now got the top 10 frequencies that are stressing me out. And then I run that essentially as a kill program, don't I? And then it
Correct.
deletes.
On remote.
Yeah, that I'm doing on remote. I've been doing it for 2 days and I did it last night, actually. So obviously I've got these 10 frequencies. I've got no idea what they are, but I know that they're stressing me out. And I put the remote setting on last night to kill them. And I woke up this morning and I have to say, I felt really good this morning because,
Yeah, you're breaking stuff down continuously around the clock behind the scenes. Well, even when you're going to sleep and your body's going down to that deep
yeah.
restorative level, the machine is still working for you.
Yeah, exactly. I woke up this morning, I had like loads of energy, and I was like, wow, this really is working. So I'm going to
It's
run it
awesome.
for another night, and then I'm going to do the next member of the family. But that's really clever. So, but just explain something to me that I didn't, I said before. So you've got these frequencies that are aggravating you, and obviously you do the kill program, so they're leaving you. And then can you use the same results, or can you do a biofeedback scan to see what frequencies you need topping up with, the reverse of that?
Yeah, on average, like what I try to encourage people, like when you first get into this and you start conducting different types of biofeedback scans and saving these as programs into the database, when you're running them, let's assume that you're running this on remote. The average is like you've done where you've conducted a biofeedback scan, we've saved that, and you put it on remote last night. I try to encourage people run that for 5 to 7 days, like let it just run for almost a week, let the frequencies do their job of breaking down whatever were in those programs, and you work your way through feeling and noticing what you're feeling as a result of targeting them. And then after that 5 to 7-ish day period of time, we would stop that running program, then remove that biofeedback scan and conduct a new one, and then sub those new ones into it and say, okay, now instead of targeting those other things, target these instead.
But is the biofeedback always doing a kill program, or does it
Yes.
do a heal? It's always a kill program with the
Yep.
biofeedback.
Yep. And that's because we're targeting between healing and killing. Killings are always going to be pathogens, viruses, bacteria, fungus, mold, diseases. These are all killing modality.
Then this is amazing as well, because mold is a massive issue, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And there
Mold
doesn't
and
seem,
Lyme. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, doesn't seem like there are many other, to me, it doesn't seem like there are many holistic modalities that get rid of mold that easily. This is so amazing because you have to buy any like vitamins or supplements or anything. You're just like beaming
But
frequencies.
again, there's some delicacy to that because with particularly assuming that you have mold, that's something that we want to break down and remove from the body. So the rate at which you break that stuff down, we have to make sure that we can detox that at the same time. It's all about having that balance of being able to target and kill, but without overdoing it. We want to be able to detox and keep right up where we want to be, kind of a balanced equation.
So you don't get a big Herx crisis. Yeah.
Correct.
And for those of you who are listening, if you don't know what a Herx crisis is happens a lot with healing, is as you heal something, your body kind of flushes with whatever the thing is you're removing, and sometimes you can feel worse for a couple of days before you feel better. So, but correct me if I'm wrong, the Rife machine also has frequencies that help you detox more effectively. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And that's again part of like what that terrain protocol is introducing you into is we're delicately removing the toxins and parasites from your liver and from your kidneys and from your intestines and the lymphatics and the blood. It's trying to clean out these main exit ways that as you go in to build programs for yourself down the road, whether they're healing or killing, you won't have any bottlenecks because of the way stuff are breaking down, trying to get out.
Yeah, okay. And obviously with these kind of programs, you still got to drink water and watch what you're
Absolutely.
eating so that you're helping the body. Yeah.
Well, we're electrical beings by nature. So when you start introducing frequencies into the body, you're just making yourself more conductive. So absolutely, more water, the better.
Yeah, okay. And tell me a bit about your personal journey with Rife. Like, how did you end up being a Rife trainer? Oh, and by the way, I have to say, the other thing that's amazing with this machine is it sort of looks complicated when you get it, but their service and the amount of videos they've got to help you explain how to work the machine is unbelievable. It's just amazing. It's just tons of free information everywhere on the internet. But obviously, you're a trainer, aren't you? So
Yes, I've been a
how
trainer
did
for
you
3 years.
arrive here?
So I started, again, I have a background in radio frequency engineering and waveform propagations. I have a very good understanding of waveform technologies.
Okay.
And in 2018, I purchased my first generator, similar to the blue one that you have. I started there. And as any working engineer does, I took it apart and I started looking at the board and the chipset and everything in it to check it out. And I basically came to the understanding and determination that from a means of introducing rifing frequencies into the house, that their software is for free. This $100 generator is the best means out there for introducing them. And so I started experimenting. And in 2018, I started running frequency programs on myself. And actually, I didn't really know what I was doing at first because you kind of get into this without having a trainer or anybody like myself. When I first started, I didn't have a trainer. So I was just like, well, let's throw this at me and see if it sticks and throw that at me and see if that works. And I had been doing this for a couple of months. And one night I was getting ready for bed and my wife was like, dang, baby, you've lost a lot of weight. And I was like, yeah, right. And she goes, no, you have. And I'm like, so please keep in mind, I've been a diabetic almost my whole life. So I know exactly what type of food I eat and monitor. I know when I food prep through the week exactly what I'm going to be eating. So there was no way I dropped a bunch of pounds and just didn't notice it. But she spiked my curiosity as to like, well, why would she think that I look like I'm down weight? And so I went and found batteries and I put them in our scale and I put them on. I stepped on it and I was down 35 pounds. And started realizing that when you're targeting stuff that's negatively impacting your body, and you're breaking that down and removing it, it's breaking down the fat cells and things that it was stored in with it, and it goes right out with it. So when I came out that bathroom door, my wife goes, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm next.
So did you get the machine because you were a diabetic? Is that why you bought it?
Yes. Like I've been a type 1 diabetic since I was 4 years old, and I've done everything from pumps to insulin injections to you name it. I've actually had a pancreas transplant in 2008 that attempted to cure it for a couple of years but failed. And in coming out of having that pancreas transplant, I felt really, really broken because I was like, man, the medical system has just so let me down. I will never get over and never cure this and never find a way. And so I started in 2015, I started researching holistically and going in and looking at those alternative methods for possibly addressing stuff. And then again, God put me in the right place and blessed me with all the knowledge from understanding of radio frequencies. He was like, you're supposed to know this for this. And so um, when I started realizing that you could use those waveforms to help address health issues in the body, I started putting two and two together that I should be able to use these systems to address my own diabetes. But before I could address the diabetes, because this was my number one most severe thing, I had to first prioritize and put all my issues and ailments in line first. So I did this, and I then started at the very bottom and I worked my way up. And each time I broke off one type of disease or ailment or medication, I felt better and better as I started moving my way up that list. And I also stopped getting sick. Like I haven't been sick since 2018.
So just
So
tell me
I,
something. So obviously the end goal was diabetes. So what kind of things did you start with? Like what?
Well, again, I had to prioritize. So in my life, I was focusing with depression and anxiety. I had digestive problems. I had severe brain fog. I had lots of the medications that I was also on. I had started at the bottom of my list to work those out so that as I removed them, then I was no longer having to suffer from those issues and my vibrational frequencies were coming up. Now it's just a one-on-one fight with my diabetes. So I've actually been able to reduce two of I was on two types of insulin. I'm now down to one. The amount of insulin that my body is producing is coming back more and more. And I'm to the point where I eventually will cure my type 1 diabetes with resonant frequencies. But because I've had this thing for 40 years, I'm using multiple modality approaches and I'm taking an approach that I will eventually conquer this, but I believe that radio frequencies is my stepping stone to do that.
Yeah, okay, that sounds amazing. And so as a trainer, what other types of diseases have you seen that this
Well, as
machine
a
really
trainer, I
helps
help
with?
anybody and everybody. Like, so when you first get a system like this, people are introducing all kinds of different types of issues and ailments. And again, you're talking about a database that has 50,000 plus frequency pathways. So normally I will just work with them to help come up with the understanding of what's going to be your pathway and what was the purpose for why you bought this machine. And let's figure out how to get you into a protocol that can get you there. And that's the kind of trainer process of this. But in March of 2021, I opened up my own holistic frequency practice and I started helping people in person and on a remote basis. And that has led to the successful health and addressing of issues for over 956 people, including 15 cases of cancer since March of 2021. So while I'm working holistically to help people, I'm also trying to train everybody to know and understand just how to be as successful and to be able to take these same devices into their house and use them just as effectively.
That's amazing. So have you actually cured those 15 people of cancer, or the
Correct.
frequencies have? That's amazing. What
Correct.
types of cancer?
I've seen everything, actually, three cases of prostate. I've seen breast cancer. I've seen ovarian cancer. I've seen colon cancer, brain cancer. Um, like I said, the spans of the types of cancers really are irrelevant.
Yeah.
When you know about found between 100,000 hertz and 300,000 hertz. So when you have a device that can play those frequencies in your body, even if you're sweeping that whole range, you're guaranteed to hit them. If they're present in your body, you'll hit them.
And what about um like I'm just trying to think of some other what about things like because I've also seen in the database, I don't want to say the words out loud because they'll just shut my program down, but the things that
Okay,
happened
okay, I
in
know where you're going with this.
lockdown, so the things that people
Yes,
did voluntarily and the things that people caught,
yes,
have you
yep.
had good success with those?
Yes, because there are preset defined programs in the database for those specifically. So whether you're talking about any of the types of makers of those things or the effects that happen as a result of some of those types of things, there are preset design programs that say, hey, this is for addressing these things. Put them on and run them.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And tell me a little bit as well about Raymond Rife. Like what's because this has been around for like 100 years or something, this machine, hasn't it? Or something
Well,
like
yeah, and
that
like
machine.
again, like Rife was is incredibly intelligent, man. The engineers that worked with Royal Raymond Rife were once quoted as saying that working with Rife was like working with someone that was 80 years ahead of your technology. Okay, you're
Amazing.
talking about an individual who built and had a need for developing a microscope so that he could view the pathogens that he was studying. Built the microscope. Took him 60,000 parts, but he built the universal microscope that most of us to this current day have. If you've ever dissected a frog in school, you've commonly used what he built. And this was the first opportunity where we could see live microorganisms physically moving. You prick your finger, you put a drop of blood on a slide, and you put it under his microscope, and you can see the pathogens and everything moving. This allowed him to isolate and identify each unique vibrational frequency for each microorganism found under his slides. And then using frequencies in his studies through the 20s, he perfected a method of causing resonance or the isolation of one specific microorganism until it shattered, while all the other healthy cells around it were completely fine. And he could physically see this now under observation. So you fast forward to the late 30s. In the 1934, Royal Raymond Rife worked with the Cancer Institute, held a case study with 16 stage 4 patients that were all inoperable. Basically, were going to die no matter what. And under the administrative eye of the American Medical Association, this laboratory study took 90 days and 3 weeks, and all 16 patients were completely cured.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so quick.
That was in the 30s. So we're almost talking something that's been around for 100 years. But because of the technology and even the interest in at that time, the American med at purchasing this technology, Rife never wanted to sell the technology. He didn't want to patent it because he knew that they were going to try to sell it to people to pay to fix themselves. And he didn't like it and agree with that. And so in came the smear town, and with the rise of Big Med, they stomped him into nothing. And the technologies were folded up into hype, and nobody ever believed it moving forward. And
And
we've
so
rolled out
how,
this in big pharma.
yeah, and so how has this company come about then? Like these boxes that are now available for, people like you and me. How long has this company been going?
Since 2013, spooky2's been out. And again, like what they are is they are manufacturing function generators. So the use of a function generator can have multiple purposes. You can do anything for it. It's only truly considered a Rife machine when you start using those frequencies to address the specific health issues and things in your body. So anybody can build a Rife or in a function generator. And if you want to try to call it a Rife machine, so be it. But everyone, you can buy function generators everywhere, but spooky2 makes the ability of purchasing and owning a system like this and then learning how to use it with their software cost affordable.
Yeah, it is. So the one that I've got is I think it was something like $350, isn't it?
Yes.
And I just
And
think
that's
if
for the
you
whole kit.
Yeah, that's everything you need. And the only other thing you need is obviously a laptop, which most people have these days. And when I found that out, I just thought that was so amazing because you've only got to go and see, anyone for an appointment, and it's $100 or $200 or even more,
Yeah.
depending what you've got. And so I just think this is just amazing. There must be so many people who've been healed now through these kits. And how come you haven't been shut down? That's what I want to know. How is it still going?
Again, like when people have this type of technology and the ability to be able to stand it up and learn and understand how it works in their house, there's nothing that says that you can't take care of yourself.
How has Big Pharma not shut it down, though? That's what I want to know. Do you think it's just like slipping through the cracks or something?
No, honestly, I believe that the changes that are on our horizons are bigger than big pharma, and that we will see the changes and possibly even collapse of things like the big pharma industries because of stepping stones like this and our advancements in technologies that are on our horizons.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's in the throes of collapsing right now, isn't it?
Crumble on in on yourself. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Okay. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything. I just really wanted to offer I just wanted to tell anyone who didn't know about this technology that it's actually out there. And what I've done is if you want to go and read more about Rife and how the machine works and potentially look at purchasing something, I've put a link in my description. And then isn't Rife also or the same company selling the Mirror Mate cold lasers?
Yeah, spooky2, again, is their primary company, and then their sister company, Mirrormate, yes, does also sell accessories like, cold laser accessories and other things along those lines for helping different people and all kinds of different health issues as well. But yes, they're just a kind of twin company of spooky2 as
Yeah.
well.
But so I bought a cold laser. I'm just going to show it to one. This is a cold laser. I'm not supposed to shine this light in anyone's eyes, but anyway, it goes red like this, okay? And what I've been doing is I've been using on people and my animals
Oh yeah.
who have got arthritis or any kind of pain actually or inflammation. And it's just the most amazing machine. You just like in 10 minutes, it really makes a difference. And I really noticed it because I was using it on my cats as well. But the
Sure.
spooky machine that you sent me, although I haven't used it, also has a cold laser probe, doesn't it? That you can
Correct.
put in your ears or
Ear.
up your nose, so that's for sinuses, or how does that work?
No, but again, remember, it's for applicational purposes of where you want it. So let's assume that you have something like a cold and you're suffering from decongestion. You put the covers on, put those up your nose and run a decongestion program. Or let's assume that you have tinnitus or ringing or popping in your ears. You could put those on in the ears and bring those frequencies right to the source of what the problem is they're convenient. Same thing, like assume you have a dental issue. Put them on, put it in the mouth, and hold that right where that infection or that problem is, and you're bringing those frequencies right to it via cold laser.
But the cold laser itself also regenerates cells, doesn't it? So you're getting a kind of double whammy.
Somewhat, and and again, because of the fact that it already brings those frequencies in at a set nanometer depth, we don't have to worry about absorption. They're coming right into the bloodstreams.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is just such amazing technology, and I'm just so impressed that you can buy it and have it in your home and then just start running on your whole family and all of your friends and everything. That's so amazing. And so how long have you, so you've been now, so you do, what do? You do kind of online
Yeah, I
work?
do training. I do training 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And in between doing training, I'm seeing people in person. I'm helping people on remote. Like I said, my purpose right now is to help anybody and everybody. The last biggest fear that I have is when people purchase a device like this and then they get intimidated or overwhelmed. That's why I became a trainer, is to try to knock some of that off and walk you through the understandings of learning how to use this and be successful with it. Like I said, in your own home, as I have in mine.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it just feels a real blessing that there are things like this out there. Is there anything else you want to share about Rife before we kind of close? Anything that I've forgotten to say or you haven't said that you wanted to?
I'm just very, like I said, I'm very thankful and blessed for the opportunity. I'm grateful for spooky2 giving us the means for bringing a product and a technology like what Rife has done and created for so many of us back to life, and again, back into our own homes and our own means of being able to wake up and say, oh man, I feel like this. And you put this on, and then you go back and you work through this process of taking back your day, and you take back your week, and then you take back your month. And all of a sudden you're in control of the things that are in your life because you decided what shouldn't be there from that vibrational frequency perspective.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is truly amazing technology, and so glad the world is changing and there are companies like yours out there. So, okay, well, thank you, Brad. That's really been helpful. And I hope it's kind of opened the doors a bit for people to understand what this technology can do. And as I've said, go and have a look on the link and read more about it yourself. It's kind of amazing. So I wanted to share it with you all. Thank you so much, Brad. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.